wealthier women in commercial real estate to give to humanity without limits. Welcome to Ladies Night with Stephanie. You're in for a treat today because we have
Letitia
Montelongo, and she is an author and multifamily investor. She's involved in this book of wonderful women, and she's one of 31 in this book where she really dives deep into her story, which is really amazing. And I wanted her to share a little bit of that in this podcast today called Make Your Move. So please tell us more about your story and why you wanted to talk about making your move.
Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it. Let's start with my story just a little bit. And you want to jump in, I feel like this book would make you want to jump in with both feet and get started tomorrow. That would be really awesome. But what I wanted to talk about, making your move, I feel like throughout my life, even if I look at my story and sometimes it starts out a little sad, right? I feel like I've always been up against times that I had to make decisions in my life that either turned out really great or really bad, but where I was at, I could not stay any longer. So if you read my book, the very first part talks about my childhood, where I was like typical kid in the 70s. Both parents worked multiple jobs. My brother was 5 years older than me. We just come home and nobody was home until 6, 7 o'clock at night. Parents would roll in, give us a little bit of food, go to bed. Like not a lot of conversations, not a lot of mentoring, not a lot of what do you want to do with your life. When I was 15 years old, my father and I were very close, even though I didn't see him a lot because he worked all the time. But I feel like I was much closer to him than I was my mom, because at least he would show up at my school if I had a track event, and he would pull up his little plumbing truck and eat a sandwich and watch me from afar run in one of my races. And I knew he was there, right? But I knew he had no time to really do much with me. So I had a real bond with him. And then when I came home when I was 15 years old, he told me that he had met somebody else and that he had to go, and he packed all this stuff. And I remember him putting his bags in the back of his truck and he just left me. And it was just like really, even talking about it right now, it's hard. Like it was the first broken heart I ever had. And so my mom basically she almost couldn't handle it. So she basically for the next 3 months sat on the phone talking to my aunts and crying every night. And she lost like 40 pounds and she didn't know what to do. And so she ended up moving away with my aunt. And at that time I was 16 years old and 2 months. And so I had a boyfriend that I'd been dating. So I just said, you know what, I got to start life. So I made my move, right? I said, let's go to Mexico and get married, because that's it. There's no way I'm going to live with you because it's against my values. So we went to Mexico. We got married, and the law was you had to stay there for a week for it to be legal. So we stayed in Mexico for a week, and then we came back, and I registered for school in the fall in high school. And we decided to see the country because I'd always lived in Texas. So we packed up all of our stuff in our little car and we went to Utah, which was a blessing because I ended up in a little town called Heber City, Utah. And all the Mormons there were so fabulous and nice to me. I rented this 1-bedroom apartment and I had no furniture, and it wasn't a furnished apartment. They brought me like a little sleeping bag and some pillows. And I remember I bought this little table, dining room table, for $40 at a garage sale, and I painted it bright yellow because the kitchen was yellow and I thought that would be cool. And that started my journey, right? So the next summer, I decided, okay, I finished school that year, my junior year. So we drove up to Alaska. And so we lived in Alaska for 5 years, and I registered for school in Alaska as a senior. And I was a married high school student, which was weird because all the girls would say things like, tell me about sex. And I would think, I don't even really know anything even though I'm married, because I'm like a child. So it was very different growing up that way. But I found my way, right? I became a pilot and I learned how to fly airplanes and did all kinds of fun stuff. I learned that I love nature and hiking and being in cool places like that. And then I had my daughter when I was 20. And then being very homesick from Texas, I moved back to Texas. in my early 20s and raised my children in San Antonio. But I feel like there's just periods in time that you either meet people or people come across your path or you get really cool ideas and you have to say, I can't be this forever. I got to make a move. And when I lived in Alaska, it was when I was working there after I finished high school. While I was working at night at this restaurant and I was a waitress, right? And before I had my daughter, I figured out I could work the 6 to 2 shift at this one restaurant, and then I could work 3 to 11 at this other restaurant because these people own 2 restaurants, right? So I was working these crazy shifts and I was meeting all these people. And then one day, this girl was like 40 years old and she looked like she was like 80 years old. She was one of the waitresses. She smoked all the time, she drank coffee all the time. And I will never forget her name was Karan. And she was like the best waitress and she made more money than everybody else and all this kind of stuff. And everybody wanted to be like her. And I just looked at her and thought, I don't want to be her. I'm 19 years old. I don't want to be 40 years old waiting tables. So I told my husband, I was like, we got to go. We got to move back to Texas. So we lived there like a couple more years. And I finally, when I had my daughter, we moved back to Texas. And from there, I just started trying to figure it out because we didn't have money for school. And I was fortunate enough to get a job at a bank. And I was the administrative assistant. And I was lucky because I was smart and I was cute. And so I could get a job. And that seriously helped him back in those. I don't know if it does today, but like back in the 80s, if you're cute, people hired you more than they did if you weren't. So I got lucky on that part. So I got a job I worked for the president of the bank and I was an assistant. And then I got put under this lady, her name was Linda Winston, and she was like the highest ranking female at Frost Bank, which is the largest bank in Texas, the largest independent bank. And so she pulled me to the side and she says, you are so smart. She goes, you've got to go to school. She goes, I want you to go to college. And I was like, I don't know if I can go to college. She goes, you can go to college. You're smart enough to do this. You're super bright. So I went and enrolled at the community college. And at this time, my daughter was 6 years old. And then I had a newborn, 5 years old, and I had a newborn because my youngest daughter was like 5 months old. And I would go and then I would come home and I would just miss my baby. And the minute she would see me, she would cry and sit in my lap. And I was like, I'm really not willing to trade 5 or 6 years so I can get my degree and not see my children when they're little. I was like, there has to be another way. So that lady said, okay, since you're not going to go to college, she goes, I want to send you to this conference. And it was about student loans. So I said, all right. So I went to this conference. And my bank, Frost Bank, wanted to start a student loan program. She said, I want you to be the person running that program for our bank. It's going to be new. Nobody cares about it. They won't care who runs it, but I want you to go learn how to do it. So I go to Austin. This is a big conference. I walk in and there's this guy. His name is Mike Sheffield. And he is in like a $500 suit. He's on the stage. He's talking. He works for Chase Bank. He runs their student loan division, right? He is just talking. And I stood there and I was like, I am going to be Mike Sheffield. I said, I'm going to be him. I'm going to do this. I'm going to learn how to do this. So I started this program for my bank. And then I was with them for 3 years. And then guess who knocked on my door and recruited me to go work for them? Chase Bank. So I got a job working for Chase Student Lending. And it was like an amazing job. I really loved it. And then a few years later, the mothership of all student loan companies, Sallie Mae, they recruited me to come work for them. And so I went in, and first year I was like salesperson of the year. And then it just within 2 years, I was promoted to like senior vice president. I was running this huge sales team, Texas to the west and Puerto Rico. I didn't even speak Spanish, but I started a huge women. It's so funny. I started a women's initiative while I worked for Sallie Mae because they were a company that had more. They would get awards every year for having a high number of women executives. So I really tried to start promoting that within the colleges and universities. So my job was I called on college vice presidents of the finance departments, and we would do presentations and get them to use our products and services. So it was just really cool. Like I met a lady who believed in me. I met other women who believed in me, and then it became like a trickle down effect. Like I was doing conferences with Ann Richards. Do y'all know who she is? She used to be the governor of Texas. Okay. So all of a sudden, it was just making my move. It's like, how do you do it when you get stuck? You just have to take your gut feeling and just do it. So I worked for them till 2008. And we had a new president. He said, banks can no longer make student loans. So we went through this huge transition and we had to lay everybody off. And I was one of the last ones to turn the light switch off. And then from that point on, I was like, I'm never going to work for anybody that can lay me off again. This is ridiculous. So I started a bunch of things. I had a yogurt shop. It was called Peach Wave Self-Serve Frozen Yogurt. And I said, I'm going to do this. It's going to be great. So I started that business. And like within 6 months, we were like the #1 yogurt shop in town. I thought it was cool because everybody had a food truck. So I said, let's make a yogurt food truck. So I met this guy who had a TV show about food trucks, and he's like, yeah, I can do that. So he made me a yogurt shop. So my little Peach Wave was on wheels and had lots of adventures with that. So for the next 10 years, I just basically had little small businesses. I had a women's med spa. I sold medical devices. I had a medical device company that I sold that to several doctors in San Antonio. And then in 2014, I got my real estate license because my children were starting to buy homes. And I thought it would be great if I could help them out. All that was great. And then my marketing company, through that, I met a gentleman one day that said, hey, I think you should learn about Bitcoin. He goes, have you ever heard of it? I said, I've never heard of it. I said, I don't know anything about technology. He's, hand me your phone. So he handed me my phone and he goes, I just gave you some Bitcoin on your phone. And I looked at it and he gave me $1 worth of Bitcoin. And so the next week he would come back to my marketing because I had meetups all over San Antonio. And he came back and he said, have you thought any more about Bitcoin? I said, no. He goes, look at your wallet. So I looked at it and my Bitcoin was like $9 in 1 week. I was like, that's so crazy. And so he got me to learn how to do Bitcoin. And within a few months, we started a company where we were selling miners and building miners, Ethereum miners. And that transpired into us having a really pretty large local cryptocurrency company where we did trading. And then from that, I started my television show. And that was the thing. What are we going to do? Let's do a TV show. And it was funny because my daughter at the time was living in Los Angeles and she actually was a host for Maria Menounos. So she knew the business and she kept telling me, Mom, you can't be on TV. You don't know anything about television. I was like, she goes, you don't even watch TV. I was like, I know, I don't really like TV, but I think I can do this. I started a television show. We had 1 season on Fox. It was great. We had a lot of fun. And then when it was over, this guy kept sending me emails. He wanted me on his podcast about real estate because I had done a segment on cryptocurrency that you could buy real estate with tokens, cryptocurrency tokens. And he wanted to interview me about this on his real estate podcast. And so he came and he did the podcast and we hit it off. It was great. And that is my now husband. We met on a podcast and then 10 months later we got married. And he had done multifamily properties before. So I was very intrigued by it. And I was still doing my real estate. But then COVID happened and nobody was doing anything, right? So every Tuesday morning, he was mentoring a group of men that learning how to get in multifamily. So one morning, I just told him, I said, I don't have anything to do. Can I get on your Zoom and learn and see what y'all are doing? He's sure. So that week he was doing underwriting. I was like, this is perfect because I am a math wizard. I will do this. So I jumped on it and I started learning how to underwrite deals, right? So I was going around and I would go through LoopNet and I would look at every multifamily deal that there was. And within about a week, I found one that actually worked. So I told him on Friday, I said, hey, I found this deal on LoopNet and it just came out this morning. I said, I want to go see it. Do you want to go with me? He goes, yeah. So we drove across town. We walked the property. It was a super amazing win because it was a great property and there was toilet paper for sale in the gas station across the way. And we hadn't had toilet paper in a month because COVID, there was no toilet paper. So I was like, yeah, this is a sign. We're going to do this. So we put in an offer and that was the first property that we bought. We bought it for $5 million and we kept it for 16 months and we sold it for $7.5 million. So from that moment on, I was like, this is what I want to do. And so it's just like that particular thing. It's make your move. It's like, why can't you do this? All these other people are doing this. Just go put in an offer and see what they say. And we bought several properties since then. And every single time that something good happens, I feel like it's what you're intentional about, you can do. Like we bought a property, it's called Pinnacle Lofts. It's in Wichita, Kansas. So we had gone up to Plano, Texas to look at some properties and we toured all day long with the broker. And it was a long drive. It was like 5 hours from San Antonio. We drove up there and we were really tired. It was about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And this other broker called us and said, hey, we have this amazing property. It meets everything you want. It's in Wichita, Kansas. And I said, send us the OM. So he sent it and I looked at us. I was like, this is exactly what we've been looking for. And they said, best and final, our offers are due at the end of the week. This is like on a Tuesday. They said, so, but the seller's not going to see it unless you look at the property. So I told Paul, I said, let's go. He goes, we just drove up to Dallas. He goes, do you know how far Wichita is? I said, I have no idea. So I look at my phone. I think it's 6 hours. I was like, it's only another 6 hour drive. Let's go. So we get up there. It was like the best property. And so the next week we put that one under contract. I think a lot of us just, we think about things like, oh, I wish I could do this, or, oh, I wish I could build out an investor database. Just start, fix your website, send out an email, make a post. I feel like it's just getting started and just taking action in anything you do. So this weekend, Paul is actually going, my husband, Paul, he's going to Houston to speak at an event. He's at a real estate conference for 2 days. And then I'm coming to Dallas to go to a real estate conference, a multifamily conference. And so before we left, I looked him in the eye and I kissed him on the cheek. I said, what are your 2 goals? I said, because I have 2 goals for what I'm going to do. What are your 2 goals? I said, one of my goals is all the people that I know that I've met, I'm going to make it a point to deepen my relationship with every one of them through a 5-minute conversation, a lunch, because what it matters what we do with our time. And then I'm going to work on our summit that's coming up. I'm going to find 2 more couples to go, because those are my goals for this week. You have to take action and make your move. So that's just been something that's been very helpful for me. But when I think about it and I look back at my life, every time I've had something that's turned out really great for me, it's because I wasn't scared and I just went and I did it. So that was that.
That's really great advice. I'm sure you were still scared of certain things. What did you do in those moments?
So this is when you meet people in your life and they just make a huge impact. I know this sounds silly, but my husband has made a huge impact in my life. And because we have exact opposite personalities, I am the person who wants to do everything and everything looks great and every opportunity looks amazing. And I'm not super focused, right? I've really had to learn to be focused and he's helped me do that immensely. But when I get to that fear part, what he has taught me that really is ingrained in my soul now is, and I'm like, oh, I don't know, I'm worried about that. He always tells me, what's the worst thing that could happen? Like, really, what if I didn't want to do this tonight, this Zoom, because I was a little scared? What's the worst thing that could happen? You guys would think I was not smart, maybe, but maybe you would think, hey, I resonate with her. I understand that. Maybe we can do business together. Maybe we can grow together as friends. There's so much upside in everything that you do, and the downside is so small that you should take risks every day, because we're supposed to. Because if you don't take risks, you're never going to do anything.
Yeah, it's true. I think the one way to get stuck is to not move at all, not take any kind of risk at all. And then you do end
Yeah,
up spinning if you don't make your next move to get the feedback that you need in order to make your next big move.
yeah. It's analysis paralysis. It's like the worst thing. Yeah, just overthinking something to death. I don't know, should I do it? Just do it. If you fail, you're one step closer to learning the right way to do it. So I always say, just go for it.
Yeah, the worst thing that's gonna happen is you get feedback. And that's good. Still a good thing, even if it's technically a failure.
Yeah. And that's another thing too. I've tried to really, I'm a big Jesse Eatzler fan. I don't know if some of y'all know him, or if all of y'all know him. So when he has that thing where he says your words matter, that was such a powerful thing listening to him that one time when he was talking about how he was so pissed because he had gone to his kid's school to pick up his child from school, and they were telling him all these negative things about his son because he was having a few learning disabilities. And he was just so angry about the way they spoke to him. And I listen to that and I'm like, we say things to ourselves because, especially as women, I think we get way too much on, we need to lose weight, we need to do this, we need to do that. So I really have tried to take my words and change them around all the time. And I think that makes a big difference. You're not stuck. You're in a holding pattern right now. You're not stuck. You're just trying to make a good decision. So just constantly reinforcing our own selves, just what really do you want to do, and just take that path and say, okay, I made a great decision. Okay, that wasn't such a great decision. There's something else I can do, and just be really positive with yourself in anything that you do. And I felt like that's what really creates happiness. We're not happy because we're at this level in life. We're happy because you're happy about being at whatever level you are in.
That's such a big distinction. How
So
do you
that's
manage
how I had.
2 kids and every?
I was married, but he was like, yeah, I don't like to say negative things about people. My ex-husband and I are super good friends now. We are, because we grew up as teenagers together, right? So I don't discount anything that he's ever done, because I know that his road was not easy either. He was not the most supportive person, and he began to drink a little bit when we were married. So that was a little bit of a dysfunction that he had that I had a really hard time dealing with. I tried really hard to keep that away from my children. So I was like a super mom, but I'm just like super grandma now because I love my kids. I think because I didn't have a really good experience when I was growing up, when I had my family, I really wanted it to just be this amazing family. And my kids were everything to me, and we were going to do everything together, and they were going to go to college and be the smartest. And I had all these great goals for them, and they are all of those things. But my partner, he wasn't as into all that as I was. I think a lot of our conflicts was just my disappointment that his dreams were not the same as my dreams. His dream was not to be the best dad and the best this and the best that. So I think sometimes you have to be aligned with who you're with. Fortunately, now with my new marriage, I think we're very aligned. We both have grandkids. We have 7 together. We like to spend lots of family time with them. I just think when you're young and you want to do tons of stuff with your kids and you want to have a real demanding career, you just do not sleep. I just don't remember sleeping a lot. 5 hours a night for 20 years.
How did you manage your energy when you were so low on?
I don't know if I was really smart, but I was really fortunate that I had my children when I was 20. I think that's the big game changer. When I see people have children when they're 40, I'm just like, oh my, because I remember not as much energy at 40.
So you do have an event coming up, which when I was reading about this adventure summit, I was getting really excited. There's yoga involved, which I'm a fan, and there's mindset, which I'm also a fan of, and there's relaxing time, which I'm definitely a fan of, and there's a time, which I love. Definitely, this sounds like an amazing event. And it's going down October 18th to the 22nd, which is a Wednesday through a Sunday. Do you want to talk more about this event?
Yeah, I will. I am very excited about it too. My husband and I, we do a lot of mentoring for a different group that we're not in. So we're in a mastermind, Brad Sumrock's, but we do a lot of mentoring for multifamily mindset. And that is Tyler Devereaux's group. And how we got involved with them was that we went to one of their 3-day weekends, which was super fun because we like to try out different things, right? And so this group was like amazing, and they wanted us to join, but we were like, we feel like at this point in what we are doing, we have the education piece. We're really just wanting to network. So they were like, we have this thing called Peak Partnership, go to that. So we went to that, and we met a couple people from there that invited us to the Sumrock group. So we try a lot of different things, but within this group, one of the ladies who's in charge of training, she says, we really love you and Paul. She goes, and we think y'all are perfect for our sponsorship group. So they actually put a group of sponsors together, and we did a Zoom with them. And we told them what we liked about working with different people and different deals and different students. And that if they had students in their ecosystem that wanted a sponsor, that we would interview them and talk with them and try to teach them, because they get training up until the time that they learn how to write an LOI, but they don't really get anything on the implementation side. We have probably spoken to 75 different people since that have deals, that have brought us deals. So we've made a lot of relationships. So we have wanted to open up like a mentoring and coaching program, but it's time consistent. That's a lot of time. And we just haven't got to that level to do that because we're so busy with our space. But the last mastermind that we were at Brad Sumrock, we were like, we don't want to join again because we've already done it with this group of people, and we love a lot of these people, and we want to continue to do stuff, but there were some things about it we liked, some we didn't like, as with any event, right? You take out the good stuff. So we decided, you know what, we're going to have an investment summit and we're not going to make it like a year long. We'll just do them one off so that people can decide if they want to go, if they have the availability to go. So it's going to be like a mastermind where everyone's going to be sharing ideas and learning and teaching together. But we're going to do some of the things that everybody said they didn't like about the ones they've been to. So we're not just going to have someone and come and talk to you for 2 hours about mindset. We're going to get up every morning and we're going to do yoga and we're going to practice meditation before we start the day, so that every day when we start learning, we're going to be in the right mindset to do it. And we're going to learn how to be chill and calm and get our minds ready to learn that for that day. So every day of this event, we're going to have morning yoga by the pool for an hour and a half and get ready for the day. Then we're going to have different speakers come in, and they're not just going to teach and leave. They're going to teach and spend the day with us. So like the first day we're having Neil Bawa, who is $1 billion in assets under management in multifamily. And he is a data scientist from San Francisco. And he has put together all of this data, and he has this really cool project. It's a 10-year project where he wants to build 100 build-to-rent communities throughout the US and have 100 homes in each one. And they're all for affordable housing. So he's going to come and talk to us about it, teach us how to do it, fundraise with us, and then he's going to spend the afternoon helping us with our business models. So I follow him. I listen to him all the time. He's so cool. So we're excited about that. So it'll be a couple of hours of hanging out with Neil, and then we're going to do some hands-on roundtable discussions, go out to the pool, really do some networking, and then we're doing some fun surprise events I don't want to talk about that involve dune buggies and fun stuff like that. Everybody complains about we're having these damn sandwiches again. So we are actually having 2 chefs come and cook, and it's only 40 people. They are Cordon Bleu trained, and they worked in Michael Mina's restaurant in San Francisco. So it's going to be a culinary delight every day of something really fabulous and lots of great food and alcohol and all that great stuff. And then the second day, we're going to have a cost segregation guy come from Dallas who's like the top of his game in cost segregation. And then we have a tax expert coming to not only help you with like how to talk to your clients about their taxes, but really try to help us all try to figure out, like, are we really doing the right things and investing in apartments and doing these types of deals, and really offering us some help on our personal taxes within our businesses, right? So I think that's something that's not always talked about. So we're going to spend the day doing that. And then the third day is going to be a day on social media and AI, which is super exciting. So there is like a gentleman within our mastermind who has bought this AI company, and the AI company actually helps you with your social media marketing. And so Paul and I are his test guinea pigs. So we've been sending him videos, like 30-minute videos. And it's so crazy. We can send them to him, and he will take them, and his little computer will go in and take them and cut them into 20, 30-second clips for marketing and tag them and put all the scripts on them. And they send them back in 15 minutes. That's the face I made. It's like, what? There is an AI company that's writing on this. So we're going to unveil that, and we're actually going to show how it works. So we're going to take like the first day's presentation of that person doing it. And then the second day, our opening is going to be like, this is what this guy did yesterday for 30 minutes. And here is 20 marketing pieces for him to send out if he wants to. So,
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we're excited about the social media. And there's just lots of fun stuff like that. But yeah, so that's the conference.
That's awesome. So if someone wants to sign up, how do they sign up?
They can go to montelongocapital.com, and when you click on my website, it's the first thing that pops up. Or they can go straight to the website itself. It's called Adventurers, just with no apostrophe, adventurersinvestmentsummit.com. Oh, and the venue's fabulous. It's like these 3 magnificent homes that are on a compound with all these lazy river swimming pools in between them. So it's at a super bougie place. So I'm excited. And the great thing about it, it's about the same price that you would go to another event. And we've just included it all inclusive on the price. So you don't have to go there and pay for your room and pay for your food and pay for your drinks and pay for your entertainment. It's like a one cost per person. So
yeah, that's nice for sure.
It's going to be a special event, and it's going to be small enough that you're really going to be able to connect, which some of these conferences are just so large that you have 20 second conversations, 5-minute conversations with people, and they never get deep enough. So that's one of the things that I'm most excited with. And then always excited to spend time with Letitia and Paul, because they're an amazing couple, and she made them look not as great as they are. They're really super amazing people. They not only gel well together, but they want to help people all the time. They're constantly just guiding and helping in any way that they can. And you don't find that in a lot of people. So I'm happy to have met them like almost 18 months ago, something like that.
No, and that's the deal. We really want to grow our relationships as well. And that's part of the key. And one thing that Paul has added to this conference too, which this is Paul always wanting to do more. We're going to have a 6-month mentoring program after. And it's not so much like people don't know what they're doing, but it's really going to be like a weekly call with the group and helping them with where they're at and really keeping everybody accountable to stay on pace, because we feel like accountability is one of the hardest things, right? Especially if you're struggling and having a hard time. It's so nice to have somebody just say, yeah, you can do this. Let me help you with that. Okay, maybe you're struggling because you feel like you've lost a couple of deals. Right now, it's hard with interest rates going up. And just to have compassionate, loving people in a group is going to be, I feel like, so rewarding to so many people. So we're going to try to do like a 6-month, once a week call with everybody. Yeah, we think that'll be great too.
Yeah, that's important. You start to feel good, and it's a huge roller coaster until things start falling into place. So you got to keep your head up high and realize that you may have to underwrite 100 deals before you find the one that makes sense.
I feel like that's the number. I think it's 100 to 1. I do. It's just, yeah, a lot of underwriting.
Keep digging. This sounds like the kind of event I want to go to, because honestly, it has everything. And then just like Jacqueline said, we had that with the book. There's 25 women, I think, that showed up, and I realized very quickly that I am an extrovert for introverts. And I had to manage my energy. And I noticed, even like I went to the Grant Cardone event, and my energy just being in that room, like it's at a high for like the first 2 hours. And then I'm completely drained by the time we get to networking. And I was like, oh, this is too much. And then like everyone, I'm like, oh, everyone's like extroverts for extroverts here. And so these more intimate settings, for sure, I know I can sustain my energy a lot more, and you do get more out of it. You can get deeper with these relationships because you're not so distracted by all the people that you want to meet. So I love this plan of yours. I'm glad it's the first one, but it's not the last one.
Yeah, Steph, I love when you say like a deeper relationship, right? So, I have a podcast as well, and I always ask people, how long does it take for you to get to know somebody, to really trust them, and to want to be a general partner with them? Know that they're going to carry the ball when you're down, and you're going to carry the ball when they're down, and vice versa. I ask that question to everybody, but it really comes from deepening the relationships to really get to know who people are and how they're going to react in certain situations. And without knowing that, you can be in for a big and long surprise if you pick the wrong people for your general partnership team. And then that can be miserable, right? If it's a 3 to 5 year relationship that you don't want to be in, but you're stuck because you're stuck. So that's why I think picking up the 10 or 15 people that you really want to build a good relationship with over the next 12 months, set that goal instead of trying to spend 5 minutes with 100 people. And then are you really going to get to that deeper level of understanding as to how the people are? So I'm trying to do that. I just can't narrow it down.
And I
feel like they narrow themselves.
Yeah,
it's true. But yeah, 10 to 15 people, just choose those people and really get to know them. Because I think I have this thought in the back of my head, oh, I have to really get to know everyone. And then that's like completely draining. And it's like, you only have so much time in a day. Like, you have to focus somewhere. And it comes back down to that focus response. And yeah, 10 to 15 people in a year, that's doable. But trying to hit everybody at a really big event, unlikely. Yeah.
All right, guys, have a good evening.
Thanks for watching Ladies Night with me, Steph Dablowski. I create wealthier women by providing exclusive access to private equity commercial real estate investments. If you're interested, check out my contact details in the description below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.